Hi, David here from the Bible Believers podcast. Today, Stephen Yaxley Lennon, also known as Tommy Robinson, was released from prison. I, for one, am very glad about that. Along with many other people, I believe that Tommy Robinson has been something of a political prisoner in the UK and has been punished for doing what might be called very good and very helpful work for the people of this country. I'm grateful to him for his work on the Islamic grooming gang's work in Telford. I worked in Telford as a doctor for 10 years and I was unaware of this, but it's horrific what's happened to some young girls in this country. And it seems to many people, whether it's the truth or not, it seems to many people that Tommy Robinson has been persecuted for telling the truth by a government that doesn't want to know the truth. Now, that's about as political as I'm going to get. Except for this, there is great concern in the nation over the threat from Islam, and Tommy Robinson has repeatedly warned about this and has been very much attacked for saying so. In my own experience of listening to and looking at material produced about or by Tommy Robinson, I have to say that I've never come across a statement that I would regard as racist by him. But I think the government is well aware that Robinson has a huge following amongst white working class people in the United Kingdom, in England especially. And I think the government is aware that there's a tremendous feeling on the streets about the way in which the government is herding us like cattle into a place where we can't speak, we can't act, we can't say what's on our minds. It's clearly, in the United Kingdom at this time, Islam is a force which could take over. We see again and again in the news how this is something that is being promoted by Islam itself, seemingly accepted by the government, and we're not allowed to say anything about it. Tommy Robinson has spoken up about this. So I welcome the release of Tommy Robinson. I would very much like to meet him in my capacity as a Christian evangelist, and I have prayed for him that he would find the Lord Jesus Christ. But the reason for this video is that Tommy Robinson came out of prison with a long beard and long hair today, but wearing very obviously a Roman Catholic rosary. Now, I haven't come across any statements previously about Tommy Robinson's religious views. That's why I'm saying that I was praying that he would find the Lord Jesus Christ. Maybe he's been a Roman Catholic for some time, but just doesn't make that known. I don't know. Maybe he converted to Roman Catholicism in prison. Maybe he's just wearing a rosary. I'd like to know the answers to those questions. And I'm very concerned about this, that again and again we're being told that Islam is a threat. And it seems that people are returning to the churches, and it's possible that Islam is being used to drive people back to the churches. The trouble is that these churches are the wrong churches, in particular the Catholic Church, which isn't a Bible-based church, which doesn't teach justification by faith, which is a false or fake church. At the time of the English Revolution, or the English Civil War rather, when Oliver Cromwell was in charge, he had many chaplains to his army and to himself, and they were Puritans. They were men who were well versed in the scriptures and understood the fundamentals of the gospel of the Lord Jesus Christ. Today I see a situation, I have already been warning about this, and I must continue to warn about it, where people like frightened sheep are driven from Islam, which they will never accept, into the arms of Rome again, a reversal of the Reformation. People have forgotten certain important things. We've forgotten that the Reformation wasn't just about differences of opinion. It was about things that people were prepared to die for, even prepared to be consumed by flames for. The doctrine of justification by faith lays an axe to the root of the tree of Roman Catholicism. That doctrine discovered by Martin Luther in his Augustinian cloister, and many others as well. That doctrine taught so clearly in the Bible that we're saved by grace alone, through faith alone in the Lord Jesus. But today we're being told there's this terrible threat, that England is at risk. And many voices are rising up, one of them is Robinson's, to defend England and to say we need to do this and we need to do that. Some of those voices are even talking about revolution. I haven't heard Tommy Robinson talking about that. But very often, increasingly, these voices seem to be Roman Catholic in the press. in politics and elsewhere. It's almost as though there is a plan to reverse the Reformation and bring the nation back under the Church of Rome. True Christians will be caught between organised religions such as Roman Catholicism on the one hand and Islam on the other. This is a very great concern. So the fact that Tommy Robinson would come out of jail wearing rosary beads is of significance. Is he a Roman Catholic? Is he part of a Roman Catholic group? And are we now going to find people saying that we must all go back to Rome in order to stand up to Islam? Of course, I haven't heard Robinson's answer to those questions. I would love to meet him and have a pleasant and polite chat with him. I don't view him as an enemy, but I do wish that he had a Protestant Christian conviction rested in the scriptures and based on faith alone. Does Tommy Robinson, I ask, worship the Virgin Mary? The Rosary is very much connected with praying to the Virgin Mary and devotion to the Virgin Mary. This is what the article on the Rosary says in Wikipedia, and of course if you want to know more you can read articles put out by the Catholic Church on this, but it says the Rosary refers to a set of prayers used primarily in the Catholic Church, and the physical string of knots or beads used to count the component prayers. When referring to the prayer, the word is capitalized, such as the Lord's Prayer and the Hail Mary when referring to the prayer beads. And the prayers that compose the Rosary are arranged in sets of 10 Hail Marys called decades. Each decade is preceded by one Lord's Prayer and traditionally followed by one Glory Be. Some Catholics also recite O My Jesus prayer after the Glory Be. So there's very much this Hail Mary, this hailing of Mary, which we would say was the worship of Mary and was idolatrous. This isn't Mary in the Scriptures. Mary in the Scriptures is a sinner saved by grace, blessed among women, yes, for bearing the Lord Jesus Christ, but not the Mother of God in the Catholic sense, and not the Queen of Heaven. But Tommy Robinson is wearing a rosary. Did he become a Catholic in prison? Is he a Catholic now? Did he become a Catholic before he went to prison, but now he's only now is he making that known? I don't know. But it has the smell of Mariolatry and popery about it. The other thing to be said is this: remember that in the Bible Jesus says that some people think they'll be heard by God for their many prayers, and there's all these Catholics going through the rosary. That means they take each bead and their chain there. You can see the beads around Tommy Robinson's neck, and each bead they'll say Hail Mary or something like that and go around it, and then that's called praying the rosary, believing that God will hear them for their many prayers. This is nothing more than vain repetition. So my call to Tommy Robinson, and as I say I still hope to meet him, is that he would come to the Bible, he would come to a saving faith in Jesus Christ, that he put away superstition and these sorts of things, and that he would find the truth, because if he's in the Catholic Church he's not in a saved position. I don't know exactly, as I say, where he is, but such a prominent position. We were told that Robinson was released from prison because his attitude had changed. Did that have something to do with the Rosary as well? But anyway, there's Tommy Robinson. I think he's going to be a significant figure in days to come. I think he's going to be significant in terms of politics and religion for England. I still salute him for doing the work that he did, which needed to be done. I still think he's been a political prisoner, but I'm very concerned that he's part of a group that are seeking to reverse the Reformation and take the country back to Rome. I'm also concerned, much as I see the threat of Islam, I'm also concerned that Islam is being used by the Jesuits to re-establish Rome as the dominant spiritual force in the Western nations. And just to warn people, don't be deceived. Walk with the Lord Jesus Christ, be faithful to him and serve him and follow him. Thank you for listening.